Diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and I am here with one of these diamonds in the rough. His name is Kory Curtis. He's a quarterback out of Gannon University. Nice to have you on, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I know you've had a little bit of a journey, but if you could please just kind of walk us through it a little bit. Tell me maybe where you're from and how you ultimately got there to Gannon.
Okay. I'm from Southwest Florida. I grew up in Cape Coral. I played high school at Island Coast. Out of high school, I took a couple visits to like North Carolina, USC, West Virginia, Louisville, and App State. I eventually came down and decided I was going to walk on Ohio State, be a preferred walk on Ohio State to try to chase my dream with Coach Day. I was there with Coach Day and Urban Meyer. I was in the quarterback room with JT Barrett, Dwayne Haskins, and Joe Burrow, and Tate Martell. And at the time, I thought I could play with all them, which I think I can. This stack, like, it didn't fall right for me. Justin Fields transferred in, so that was tough. He's pretty good. So then I decided I was there for 2 years. I was scout team quarterback for my freshman year. Got some good reps in practice my sophomore year. I decided to transfer to go play. I transferred to Bryant University, which is an FCS program. I played there for a year. I did decent. Then I transferred because they didn't have my master's program. So I transferred to Gannon University, which was the best move that I could make. Came here, turned a 2-9 program, helped turn a 2-9 program with the guys around me to an 8-3 program. So I was pretty excited about that. But yeah, that's my journey so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously a little bit of journeyman. I mean, it didn't really work out like obviously the exact way that you want, but you still found your way to a program where you're able to turn that program around into a winning one. So that's kind of sweet. Kind of interesting to say that you were in the same quarterback room with some of those guys that ended up, making it to the pros. So, being in the same room with a guy who was like a first round draft pick and those things,
Mm-hmm.
definitely some fun stuff. So obviously eventually got there to Gannon. And so if you could please, let's talk about your university a little bit, man. What do you think is so special about Gannon University? Like just your university as a whole, if you don't mind.
So like my school, it's a small university. It's a private university. It's a very well knit community. I love it. I grew up in a pretty big city, so it's like a small town feel for me. It's like a city. It's like a small city, but so I like it. The school, like every sport goes to every sport and watches all the games. Um, the people here are so nice and welcoming. Like I love it here. The school's a great university, academically and athletically.
Right. And what you were saying earlier is that one of the biggest reasons why you transferred there is because of the master's program. So talk to me for just a little bit about like what you have done academically.
So I have my undergrad degree in cellular and molecular biology, um, from Bryant, as well as psychology. And so I decided I wanted to do something in healthcare. They only had an MBA at Bryant, so I was like, I'm not doing that. That's nothing that's going to help me. So I decided to come here and get my master's in healthcare administration, which I'll be done with in December.
Hmm.
So I'm really excited about that.
That sounds like some crazy stuff that I would probably never take in college. So, um, what do you feel is like been maybe your most difficult class? What's been your most difficult class, either there at Gannon or like back in the day, like at some of the other universities?
Probably Calc 3 was probably the hardest class, or OChem. One of those two classes are pretty tough.
That's insane, man. There's not too many, football players that ever take, classes like that, man. What in the world it has to be, go through a person's mind in order to take these like crazy genius classes?
Yes, sir. I I think I just wanted to be. I've always wanted to be like either a doctor or a PA, to be able to help people. And so I think I just try to take the necessary steps possible to be able to do that.
Well, hey man, I mean, whichever way you go in life, I mean, if you're going to end up being a doctor, if you're going to end up being a football player, I mean, shoot, I mean, you have a lot of options on the table for real. So, Kory, I mean, a lot of people that don't know you, I mean, you are a fairly big guy. I mean, about 6'4", 235 pounds. So, you almost look more like a linebacker than you do a quarterback. But, quite honestly, like, that puts you in a particular category when people look at you as a player. I mean, is there maybe I don't know, maybe a guy at the next level that you either are a fan of or maybe aspire to be that might be somewhat similar to you?
Growing up, I mean, I like Peyton Manning. Obviously, every quarterback did growing up, but Big Ben is kind of like somebody that I looked up to. Because I liked his hard nosed attitude, like in Pittsburgh. I liked how big he was. He can move a little bit back when he was younger. And he wasn't going to be taken down by one guy. He had like grit to him. He could sling the rock a little bit. So, that's somebody that I tried to play my game, like try to play like.
Yeah, and I mean, again, a little similar whenever you think about it. I mean, you figure a guy like yourself, despite your size, can move a little bit. What do you feel separates you as a prospect?
I think being in the quarterback room with Coach Day every single day for 2 years, I know it separated me. Also, like just hearing the way that like JT talked, uh, how Dwayne talked, how Joe talked, and how they all led in different ways, but it all worked. I think that will separate me anywhere that I go and allow me to be able to like pick up offenses, be able to um, be with any quarterback, be with any quarterback room with any team, and be able to just do what I have to do.
Right. Well, I mean, when you get a guy who's smart, can pick up an offense, I mean, hell, it can get through Calc 3. I mean, shoot. I mean, you're probably smart enough to do a whole bunch of things, but yeah, man, I mean, that's got to separate you for real. And again, I know despite your size, you do have some mobility to you. So, I mean, you're not going to be like one of these statuesque type people like in the pocket. So, you guys, I would assume because everybody does it these days, you probably utilizing that RPO game, right?
Definitely, definitely.
So you don't really see yourself as like a pocket passer. Like, is that kind of how you would define yourself or what?
Um, I mean, I'm pocket passer, but I like to run the rock. So, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I mean, we ran Q draw. We kind of run a little bit of like what we ran at Ohio State with like JT. Obviously, I'm not as
Sure.
fast as him, but we ran that and what Joe ran at LSU. We looked at that and like, so that's kind of like the offense that we ran. And so able to utilize what I'm good at, like Q power and all that type of stuff.
Sure. Let's go ahead and talk about your offense, if you don't mind. I mean, talk about those people around you and what you guys have built as a program there. So, I mean, I know you guys have a, pretty decent run game. So talk about some of the people around you, if you don't mind.
Yeah. This year we had two running backs, both in the top five for rushing yards. Melvin Blanks and Tony Wright. Melvin's a senior. And then Tony is I think he's a sophomore. So he's an up and comer. He's gonna be really good. I had a target this year. His name is KB, number one on our team. He almost had 1,000 yards receiving, and I think he had 12 or 13 touchdowns or something like that. He's a really good target. He was my ex, so he was like my man beater. And then we had some guys that stepped up. Sam East, he only played in 3 games. He did what he had to do, but he got hurt. We had a freshman stepped up, Donnell Mason. His nickname's Tank. I think in 2 games he had 3 games he had 500 yards receiving, so he did pretty well. And then we had a good tight end group. I think our tight end in our last game that we played, I think he had like 11 catches for 154 yards or something like that. So we had some pretty good guys around us. And then obviously our O-line they held strong all year.
Nice. I mean, it's always nice to give a little bit of love to the guys around you, man. That's what we're doing, right?
Definitely.
So, and again, building a really quality program there. So, it's kind of fun to see that kind of develop. I want you to take the opportunity to share maybe 2 moments of you on the field. So, the first if you don't mind, go back in time a little bit to your very first collegiate start. Can you remember what that was like?
So I was nervous. It was against Brown. Um, Ended up finishing pretty well. We lost the game in overtime. Started my career how I ended it, I guess. So, but yeah, it was a good game. I did quite a few yards and quite a few touchdowns, but my O line that year was ridiculous. We had a couple guys that are playing in Canada and stuff like that, so they gave me a bunch of time to be able to throw the ball around, and we had to do against them.
And again, I'm assuming this is when you were at Bryant, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So tell me about like the best moment that you've had there at Gannon. Walk me through maybe a game or a play that you've been a part of there.
Oh, there's two that come to mind. My first start here at Gannon, we won in overtime. We caught a play that I don't think I ever ran ever in practice here. I think I was here for all of 3 weeks, and we scored the first play in overtime. It was the ball to Sam East. And then this year, we beat the number 11 team in the country. I think the score is 48-43 or something like that. So we put up a bunch of points. I think we had like 500 yards of offense. So it was really exciting. Really exciting game to play part of. It was the best game that I think that individually I played in.
It's kind of crazy to think about it. I mean, at least some of these moments that you kind of share, because you figure like you're in these like high pressure moments. I mean, taking your team to overtime. I mean, yeah, sometimes it doesn't fall your way, but I mean, you're in the mix, man. You're in the mix all the time, and you're really helping your team get over that hump, fighting to the very last moment. Obviously, sometimes falling short, but I mean, that's kind of comes with the territory at times.
Three
I mean,
times.
it may not be any fault of your own. So that's just, kind of what we have to roll with. But hey, Kory, let's take a moment. I want people to get to meet you off the field a little bit. So talk to me about something that's maybe fun, unique, special, or what have you, whether that be a hobby or just something about you that maybe not everybody knows. So can you share a little bit of something about yourself?
Yes. So I've been working as a youth pastor. I worked as a youth pastor for a year and a half. This season I took off so that I could focus on football. I love playing basketball. Huge into playing Madden. I'm just not very big going out type of guy, so I like hanging out with my family, hanging out with my friends, like inside, going to play sports and stuff like that. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay, and again, you're a Florida guy, right?
Yes, sir.
So talk to me about your hometown. I mean, what's so special about your hometown? Like if I were to come visit and stuff.
It's where everybody comes. Well, I'm like 5 minutes from Fort Myers Beach, so it's where everybody comes and like tourists come and visit and stuff like that. Close to Sanibel. We just got hit with a hurricane, so everybody's rebuilding right now. But it was a great place to grow up. Used to go fishing all the time, and it's just sunny, and it was a great place to live. Great place to grow up.
So are you one of these guys that would be out there fishing like deep sea wise, or talk to me about that a bit.
Yeah, so like I like fishing for like reds in the mangroves and stuff like that. I mean, I like deep sea fishing. I think last time I went with me and my fiance went with my dad and one of my dad's buddies that caught a Goliath grouper. So that took me like 20 minutes to pull in. It was huge. It was out by a shipwreck, so that was awesome. Yeah, she caught a bunch of barracuda and stuff like that. So that was her first time going out far.
That's crazy, man. How do you take a barracuda off of a hook, man? Like those things are like
Yeah, I don't
crazy.
mess with it because I don't want to get no cuts on my hands. But yeah, my pops he just snapped the wire and you have to rewire it.
Well, hey, well you got to do whatever you got to do. So,
Sure.
are you a big movie guy? Like you like going to the movies? Can you talk to me about maybe like one of your favorites or something?
Mm, I'm a huge movie guy. So I'm in any movie. I like all the Marvel movies. Law Abiding Citizen's probably one of my favorite movies. Any of the sports movies I like. Um, I pretty much like everything. There's not.
Sure. So, going back to the Marvel stuff, if you could be any one character in the Marvel universe, who would it be?
That's tough. Probably Iron Man.
There's a
I don't
lot of
know.
people that want to be Iron Man. You figure you're rich as crap, you know. I mean, you could do whatever you want. You could build yourself an iron suit and go flying across the country. So
Yeah,
why the
and
hell not, right?
yeah, that's a pretty good one. I love the Hulk, but like he can't control his temper, so I don't like that very much.
Well, I mean, if you're watching nowadays, he kind of can. I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
kind of.
anyways, I'll move on from that. Kory, it's been kind of fun, you know, talking to you about stuff that's like not football related, kind of circling back to that. I mean, I know that there have been a lot of people that have poured into you over the years, whether it be at one of the universities that you went to, or even far back as high school. Has there been any sort of lesson that you might have learned from one of your coaches that still sticks with you today?
In high school, my coach, he pretty much he would just preach like be where your feet are, like don't look too far in the future, like just do what you have to do in the now. Coach Day and Coach Meyer preached E plus R equals O for like, and it's like every event you're gonna get, how you respond determines your outcome. Um, uh, and then here is like today. Here, Coach Rayburn and Coach Nardo talk about today's the worst you're ever gonna be. So always improving, always get 1% better. Um, yeah.
So I wrote down, you said E plus R equals O. It
Yes,
sounds
sir.
more like an algebraic problem there that I don't want to solve. So
Yeah.
um, again, walk me through that one more time. E plus R. What do
Equals
they
O.
what do they stand for one more time?
So E equals for every event, and R equals for like response, and O equals outcome. So like if you have an event that happens in your life and you respond negatively, then your outcome is probably going to become negative. If you respond positively, then you're probably going to have a positive outcome.
Awesome. I really appreciate that, man. That's a fun thing that to keep in mind for, you know, maybe some of the people that are listening.
Yes, sir.
Kory, I know you're going to have a lot of opportunities, you know, from now until whenever, to get to the pros. So, I mean, I know you're recently, you know, finished up there at Gannon, but I know there's some scouts that have been looking at you, and will continue to do so throughout this process. I want you to look directly into the camera, and I want you to talk to them directly and tell them why they need to take a chance on you, and what kind of quarterback you would be, you know, for them in their franchise. So hit them with your pitch.
Um, I think that I would be a quarterback that could come in and might not be the big name guy, but I think I could come in there and be an advocate for your program, for your team. I think that um, I would be a good backup, but I also think that I could be a good starter. I think I could have a Kurt Warner story, so an underdog story. I think that you won't get somebody that's going to cause issues. You're going to have somebody that's a good locker room guy, somebody that can rally the troops, regardless of what my place is on the team, whether I'm the last on the depth chart or first on the depth chart. You're going to get somebody that's not going to be outworked, and I promise that.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, I do think that there's a lot really going for you as a prospect. And me, and I know it might sound silly, but even your time at Ohio State, you know, you're sitting there in a room full of like first round draft picks, first overall draft picks, you know, and just kind of soaking that in at that time, and then growing into the person that you've become, which is, you know, a quarterback that has taken a lowly team and brought success to them. I mean, and you know, again, I mean, good quality size. I mean, I know that for some scouts that's a big deal. So you, again, 6'4", 235, for a guy that can move, man. I mean, you're not a complete statue there. So I mean, you could work in a lot of different schemes, depending on what coaches are going to ask you to do. And again, having the aptitude to learn those things, as we kind of, you know, discussed, I mean, it certainly is in your favor. So Kory, it's been cool just kind of sitting with you and kind of chatting about like who you are as a person and player. Do wish you best of luck moving forward. All right, man.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Sure. Once again, I got with me Kory Curtis. He's a quarterback at Gannon University. Definitely check him out.